3, 2.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our weekly media briefing and public health update with Montgomery County Executive Marc Elrich. I'm Lorna Virgili, Hispanic Public Information Officer, and joining us today is Dr. Keisha Davis, the county's health officer, as well as Dr. James Bridgers, Director of the Department of Health and Human Services. From that department as well is Mr. Sean O'Donnell and Dr. Earl Stoddard, who is Assistant Chief Administrative Officer. Today we have a special guest, United States Representative Glenn Ivey, who represents Maryland 4th Congressional District. He's here to talk about the relocation of the FBI headquarters to the state of Maryland. Good afternoon, everybody. Mr. County Executive, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you, everybody, for joining us again today. And today I'm welcoming Representative Glenn Ivey to this media briefing. His district covers the easternmost portion of Montgomery County and Prince George's County, and he's a two-term state's attorney in Prince George's County, a federal prosecutor, and the former counsel to the U.S. Senate Majority Leader. And Congressman Ivey is ending his first year in office with some impressive things in his resume. As a member of the Health Ethics Committee, he was front and center when complaints were lodged against New York Representative George Santos, much of which we've heard about recently. That must have been a lot of fun. Congressman Ivey is a member of the Bipartisan Artificial Intelligence Caucus, and he's also a member of the Caucuses on Homelessness, Caucus on Homelessness, Equity Caucus, and the Sustainable Energy and Environmental Coalition, to name a few. He also authored a bill intended to strengthen our gun laws and require all purchasers of semi-automatic weapons to be at least 21 years old. It makes no sense, and I agree that the legal age to buy a semi-automatic rifle is 18 years, when so many of our worst school shootings, like the one in Uvalde, Texas last year, were done by legally purchased weapons by 18, 19, and 20-year-olds. And just this week, the Federal Appeals Court overruled the Maryland handgun law as unconstitutional. We actually need common sense gun control legislation from Congress, and I'm really glad that Congressman Ivey is working on this. It's also great news for his district on landing the new FBI headquarters in Greenbelt. We're excited about that here. We think it's going to, benefit everyone, and so this is something that's, I think really important for all of us. So I'm going to turn it over to him and give him an opportunity to say a few words, and we will be back in a little bit.
Well, thank you, Mr. County Executive. I appreciate your introduction and the invitation to have a chance to join you at this briefing. And it has been a very interesting stretch. I did want to start with this anniversary of John Kennedy's assassination. I'm 62 years old, so in fact, I was born in 1961, so I don't remember the Kennedy administration so much. But not only do I remember the legacy of it, and I benefited from the impact of that as well. So, in fact, on our wall, Jolene and I have his inaugural address posted up, and on the other side is Martin Luther King's Drum Major Instinct sermon, which was, they lifted the last part of that for his eulogy after he was assassinated. So these are challenging times, but we've been through challenging times before, and we'll make it through again, I think, now. Great news this week, this month, the FBI headquarters coming to Greenbelt, I think is an outstanding opportunity. I note that our Virginia delegation colleagues are still kicking and screaming about it, but it looks to me like this is a done deal under the law. I think GSA did it the right way, and their procedure was good. And, we won on the merits, I think, including cost. It was, depending on which estimate you use, it was at least, I'll give the most conservative version, $500 million savings for American taxpayers to put it in Greenbelt as opposed to put it in Springfield, not to mention the close accessibility to the metro stop and other aspects. So we're glad it's coming. Multi-billion-dollar impact for, this part of the state. In the form of jobs after it gets built. We're already hearing from businesses that are thinking about locating or relocating to be near the FBI headquarters. And it's another good asset for the many that we have in that area already. You know, we've got the Agriculture Research Center, got the University of Maryland, got NASA and NOAA, FDA White Oak, just up the street a little bit is NSA. So from the cybersecurity standpoint in particular, the FBI could be another strong peg, along with the University of Maryland, along with NSA, along with NASA and the work that they're doing in building out our capability to attract businesses that are doing that work. So we're extremely excited about that. Want to say a quick comment. Saturday is going to be Small Business Saturday. I know Black Friday, a lot of people go to the big box stores, but if you can, take a moment, go do some shopping at some of the local stores here. I don't have anything against chain stores, but there's a lot of local businesses that have a big impact in our region and in our communities. They hire locally, they reinvest in our community, they give their charitable support to our local community. Let's see if we can support them as well. So, happy Thanksgiving to all, and again to the county executive. Thanks for giving me a chance to come on and say a few words and give some greetings today.
Well, thanks for coming on. And anytime that you're interested, you think you might want to just talk to people about things that you're concerned about, we are your constituents, and we're happy to use this opportunity to give you an opportunity to talk to the people who are your constituents and ours constituents as well. So take advantage of it.
Will do. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Congressman, for joining us today. Members of the media, we are going to open it up right now, Q&A. Questions for the Congressman regarding his remarks? Any questions? Members of the media?
Ready to leave for Thanksgiving, it sounds like.
No questions regarding the FBI relocation to the state of Maryland for the Congressman? Okay. Well, going once, going twice? Okay. Well, thank you, Congressman, for joining us today. You can drop off or stay, and of course, have a very wonderful holiday celebration.
Same to you all, and have a good one.
Yeah, take care.
All righty. Bye-bye.
Okay. As I mentioned, Congressman Ivey is part of the Artificial Intelligence Caucus, and that's actually very valuable to our state. Maryland has an incredible opportunity to be a global epicenter of AI technologies for businesses and innovation. And last Friday, I traveled over to the University of Maryland in College Park to attend a retreat for the leadership of the Institute for Health Computing that is opening pretty soon over in North Bethesda. They are in Pike and Rose area. They have a lease they're trying to finalize, and they are going to be on probably Executive Boulevard, a very block away from the metro entrance, and be somewhere around 30,000 square feet when they open. More on that when we actually do the grand opening. We listened to a nationally noted AI expert, Bratton Saha. Dr. Saha's presentation was what's possible with AI in healthcare. And it's really interesting because what is possible and what we're trying to do with the Institute of Health Computing aligns really, really well. There's a lot of work being done with not just drug discovery, but following up and being able to identify the efficacies of different treatments, and being able to look at this across entire populations, which gives you a much more diverse look at how different drugs and treatment patterns affect different groups within your larger population. And Maryland's going to be able to do all that. And we're really excited about what it's going to bring here. We've brought this research institution to that location in Shady, because it's between the Shady Grove private cluster and the kind of intellectual capital that's at NIH and other institutions in Bethesda. One of them is the Henry Jackson Foundation, which operates off Democracy Boulevard. And with the addition of the University of Maryland Medical System, UMS as it's called, to this project, we have the ideal partnership that's going to allow us to attract more talent, more capital, and more new leading edge companies to Montgomery County and the state of Maryland and region. When I was recently in India and Vietnam, and we talked about the county and also about this institute, and explained it to people and what our vision was for where we want to try to drive the county, we found the companies were very interested in locating here in Montgomery because they saw the university and the health system partners in this project as a real serious attractant for the kind of work that they want to do in life sciences. I want to thank University of Maryland College Park, University of Maryland Baltimore, and UMS for inviting me to that important gathering. We have reached the week of Thanksgiving with a lot to be thankful for this time of year. It's nice to see the outpouring of support across our community to help struggling families fill their Thanksgiving tables. And the truth is, tens of thousands of families have already received support through our government and our partners. And they usually get additional support over the holidays. We're working to address food insecurity across the county, but there's a lot more work to do than ever, and demand seems to continue to rise, even since the state of emergency on the pandemic ended earlier this year. One of the things that also ended was a lot of federal support for food and, for just general social supports, and the loss of those supports has increased the stress on many families who there's not everybody's back to work. There's still sectors of the economy that have not fully recovered. And there's still, people who are struggling to put food on the table. And that's a very real thing. And with the holiday upon us, I want to remind everyone to not drive impaired. Law enforcement across Montgomery County is going to be on the lookout. During this period, we're going to make sure that people are driving safely, not on the roads when they shouldn't be on the roads. And so please, everybody, do what you're supposed to do and keep yourself safe and keep everybody else safe. Let's see. I need you guys to give me control of my screen back. Thank you. Tonight is one of the nights that we worry about the most with friends and family reconnecting and making it a high-risk night for driving impaired. Our alcohol beverage services is trying to help by giving away coasters to put customers in touch with a safe ride home through a QR code. We'll put a link on our webpage to that QR code. And please, if you're out and you've had one too many drinks and you feel like you want to be sure you get home safely, and if you're with a friend who doesn't have the judgment to make that decision for themselves, please use the coaster, use the QR code, and please do what you can to help make sure that everybody gets home safe tonight and every night during this holiday for that matter. This Saturday is Small Business Saturday. Congressman Ivey touched a little bit on this Saturday. We're going to be going around and visiting various businesses around the county. I'll be out in a number of different, probably making 4 stops on Saturday to talk to small businesses who have opened here and are continuing to thrive here. And we're doing this to help encourage people to come out and be present and shop locally. We actually in the county have a policy of giving priority to small businesses when we do our contracting. And the reason why we do it is aligned with this report from the National Federation of Independent Businesses that says for every dollar spent on a county business, about 70 cents stays local. And every dollar spent at a national corporation, as little as 30% stays local. And so that was part of the impetus for us to give priority preferences to local small businesses when we do contracting in Montgomery County. The money that we spend here stays here, and that's good for everyone. Small business was originally recognized in Congress in 2011. Projected spending across the nation, independent retailers and restaurants on Small Business Saturday has historically been close to $18 billion. It helps these businesses get recognized between Black Friday and Cyber Monday, and it helps support local businesses in our communities. So I encourage you to go visit Montgomery's webpage and look through their Small Business Saturday suggestions to find out where you can shop locally throughout your holidays. Closing with the health report right now, as we travel and gather for this holiday, I want to encourage everyone to remember that we're still living with COVID-19 in our community and consider those amongst us who may be vulnerable to this virus. Just this week, the Biden administration announced it'll make more COVID-19 tests available by mail for free through the covidtests.gov. This could be the second round of 4 tests your family can receive. So you'd have up to 8 tests if you haven't gotten any this fall. The virus continues to send people to the hospital, and the case rates have stagnated over the last few weeks, which is the good news. But I think people need to remember COVID is still more deadly than the flu. It is several times more deadly than the flu. So this is not just, gee, if I get it now, I'm just going to get something like the flu. It actually increases the risk of having a fatal illness. So take this seriously. It's still not tame. This time around, make sure you protect yourself and protect the people you love. Our shots are widely available now, including the non-mRNA shot for people who are concerned about taking an mRNA vaccine. So please find your way to a shot if you don't already have one. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Sean O'Donnell, the Acting Deputy Chief of Public Health, with this week's health report.
Thank you, Mr. County Executive. To share with you all the surveillance that we're looking at, we're seeing another week where COVID activity remains elevated. We have not come down to that level that we saw earlier this year. So we're still elevated with COVID going around. This is our wastewater surveillance. Our test positivity on the left is across the state, and in Montgomery County, again, remains elevated. And transmissions, again, remain slightly elevated. This is, of course, just PCR testing. So these numbers, of course, look a lot lower than they have in the past because of the more limited use of PCR tests. Looking at our hospitalizations, we did see a bump, an increase this past week, mostly over the last 2 days, locally as well as at the state level. Our ICU numbers went up by 5, and our acute care numbers have also gone up. Looking at the state numbers, you can see here, those are also elevated. They've gone up by 40 total inpatients over the last week. Again, a lot of that is over the last few days. These numbers do kind of go up and down, but it's just, it gives us evidence that COVID is still going around and is still causing significant illness. Looking at all courses of respiratory illness, so including our influenza tracking, we are seeing, you see over there, the darker red line on the upper graph. As of about a week ago, you see that this respiratory illness from all causes is starting to increase. A lot of that is being driven now by our flu season starting to increase. As our county executive mentioned, we were very happy to hear that our federal partners are making additional test kits available through the mail. This is very helpful for populations who are unable to get to our libraries, where we continue to hand out test kits. We want to emphasize, if you've got any sort of flu-like symptoms, if you're achy, have a fever, or have, cough, please test yourself for COVID. Even if that test comes back negative, consider that it's possible you may have RSV or influenza, and both of those are also can be very serious illnesses for our more vulnerable populations, like our seniors or those with underlying conditions. So again, if you're feeling ill, please try to social distance from family members who might be at greater risk, at least until you're healthy. It'd be much better to see those family members a few days later, rather than be someone who might contribute to them getting sick. With that, those are our updates right now on respiratory illnesses. I'd like to see if Dr. Davis or Dr. Bridgers have any additional comments from HHS.
Nothing for me, Mr. O'Donnell.
Me neither. Thank you, Mr. O'Donnell.
Dr. Stoddard, thank you, Mr. O'Donnell. Dr. Stoddard, any remarks?
No additional open comments.
No? Okay, members of the media, we open it up for Q&A regarding public health and any other topics. If you have any questions, please raise your hand right here and we'll call you. Any questions? No questions for the officials today? Going once? Twice? Okay, I guess it's the holiday weekend. Thank you for joining us, everybody. Thank you, Mr. County Executive. Everybody have a wonderful afternoon and, of course, a safe Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Enjoy.